or local government for a public purpose, if you're a true nonprofit, or
Why is the United Methodist Church not public property then?
I don't know what their dissolution agreement has been.
Okay.
I have no idea.
I guess it's still owned by the United Methodists.
Perhaps it is.
So,
But it should be addressed in your articles of agreement.
It should be addressed there. I don't have it in front of me right now, but if I recall correctly, it'll go back to the Shire Free Church, the larger organization.
So right now, both sides, 73 and 75, are used for the church?
They're parsonages.
And who lives there? Just the
It's
two
in
of
the
you?
questionnaire.
I read the questionnaire, but I was kind of, so nobody else lives there, just you and Daryl?
That's correct.
Cynthia? No,
Just we have a large audience today, so I'm going to read into the record the city assessor, the assessing office's recommendation to the board. Shire Free Church, Monadnock filed an application for real estate tax exemption under RSA 7223C, in which they request an exemption pursuant to RSA 7223, Roman numeral 3. The basis given by the applicant is that the property it owns, 7375 Leverett Street, is primarily used for ministers' parsonages. The applicant asserts that his religious organization is regularly recognized and they constitute denomination, creed, or sect. The Shire Free Church Monadnock is registered as a New Hampshire nonprofit corporation effective December 12, 2013. Their stated purpose, as set forth in the Articles of Agreement, is as follows. Primarily, this corporation will assist the ministers in their mission of fostering peace by facilitating interaction with the people calling themselves the state, regarding serving the community through positive action for charitable, educational, and religious purposes. This corporation is established to appease whatever arbitrary and nebulous dictates handed down by whichever monopolistic, violent governmental agency may turn its capricious attention towards the Shire Free Church, its people, and or any of its ministers, while we go about the good work of spreading the idea of human freedom and morality. Courts have ruled that simply registering with the Secretary of State of New Hampshire or being registered by the federal tax exemption under IRC 501c3 alone is not reason enough to grant a property tax exemption. Therefore, in an effort to gain a better understanding of the applicant and how the uses of its property relates to the claimed exempt purpose, the city requests additional information as provided for in RSA 7223C, Roman numeral 2. Ian Freeman has responded to the questions, a copy of which has been submitted to the board, which we have been going over in some detail today. The applicant defined its purpose as our mission, inspired by God, Allah, the universe, and the inner light, is to foster peace, freedom, and personal responsibility. In response to questions pertaining to the tax-exempt use of Leverett Street property, the applicant stated that sectarian activities were praying, meditation, singing, spiritual discussion, as inspired, where inspired. The secular activities at the property include eating, sleeping, as necessary, where appropriate. The applicant, in response to a question pertaining to a location on the property where religious ceremonies, services occur, stated, "We believe that wherever 2 or more church members are gathered for such purposes is our church." Further, the applicant reported that there were 5 members of its church leadership, those being 5 members of the board of directors, but that anyone become a member of the church so long as the person signs the Shire Society Declaration and be of peace. It was also reported that an individual may become an ordained minister in the Shire Free Church by signing the Shire Society Declaration and becoming approved unanimously by the board members. A copy of the Shire Society Declaration has also been provided to the board for their information. RSA 7223M states, "The burden of demonstrating the applicability of any exemption shall be upon the claimant." New Canaan Academy versus the town of Keene also ruled that it's applicant's burden to prove it is entitled to tax exemption. Furthermore, in interpreting RSA 7223 Roman numeral 3, the New Hampshire Supreme Court has stated, "In construing religious exemption statute, we do not adopt a liberal attitude because it is a charity, nor a hostile attitude because it seeks exemption from taxation. This legislative intention is sought without regard to rules requiring strict or liberal construction for certain classes of legislation. We have previously held that the legislation in drafting RSA 7223, Roman numeral 3, intended to exempt land owned and occupied by a religious association that is in part of or used directly in conjunction with buildings used principally for religious purposes. So the information submitted by the Shire Free Church, Monadnock, as reviewed by the City Assessor's Office, does not meet its burden of demonstrating the applicability of the request for property tax exemption in RSA 7223, Roman numeral 3, to the property located at 7375 Leverett Street. Therefore, it is the city's recommendation that the request for tax exemption be denied. Board has any other additional questions or discussion, or we can take a motion and.
I think there's a big difference between form and substance, and I think that's going to provide the clarity. It may be in form, but it may not be in substance. I mean, when they refer to activists, I think that flies in the face of your church status or your, I think a political stance is something that cannot be defined in that regard.
It's a moral stance, and the UU Church allows Democrats to meet there.
Just for clarity, you had an opportunity to speak at this point, so at this point we're just allowing the board to communicate for the public's benefit.
And, well, and just to address that, many churches allow meetings of various types throughout the city. But when you refer to yourself as activists, I mean, that's a clear-cut statement to myself. I'm not sure about the other board members, but there's an underlying meaning there, and I'm just putting that out there.
I make a motion that we deny the request.
I agree.
Barry makes a motion to deny,
I agree.
seconded by Mary. Take the vote. Cynthia?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Marianne?
Yep.
Vote 3-0, the Board of Assessors votes to deny the application for exempt status for Shire Free Church, Monadnock. So, moving on in our meeting, Diane has passed out minutes from last meeting. Does the board have any questions about those minutes? If not, I'll take a motion on those to accept those.
I motion for
I did read this.
acceptance
I second.
Second?
as written.
Vote 3-0. All in
Yes.
favor?
Yeah, yes, aye. Good job, Diane.
Opposed to. Thank you, Diane. And does the board have any other questions or order of business? Staff has none. So we'll close the Board of Assessors meeting. Thank you all for attending.
So much for religious freedom.
Give you a call.
It's a conference.